Hello there, this is David from David Books and Comics, and today I thought I'd talk about the Spider. And the Spider was a character created in the pages of a pulp magazine by Popular Publications. And the writer who created the character was a guy named R.T.M. Scott. Now, R.T.M. Scott was Canadian. R.T.M. Scott II. His father was a writer, and the son, R.T.M. Scott II, was also a writer. And R.T.M. Scott served in the Second World War with the Canadian Army, the 48th Highlanders of Toronto. And he in the 1930s, 1933, before the war, he created the Spider in a novel called The Spider Strikes. These are reprints of the pulp magazines. This one's called The Empire of Doom. This one was written by the Norvell Page. And you'll see Norvell Page was the writer, and he wrote the more famous and the better written, in my view, stories of the Spider. And there's this one, Empire of Doom, and then there's this one that features two novels. This one is published by Girasol Collectibles, and it's a Reign of the Death Fiddler and City of Whispering Death. Now, the Spider was a masked vigilante, much in the vein of many of the pulp heroes of the 1930s, like Phantom Detective, the Green Lama, and especially the Shadow. The Spider appeared in 119 novels. Most of them were written by Norvell Page. The first two or three were written by R.T.M. Scott. In all of the adventures of the Spider, he is assisted by two of the main assistants. One is his friend and close confidant, Nita Van Sloan, and his Sikh manservant named Ram Singh. And we can look through this reprint to see if we can find pictures of the characters. If we can find them. There's Richard Wentworth. And there's Nita Van Sloan. So those are those two, and then there's this one that I have. And this one has two stories, just like this one. And they are Prince of the Red Looters and The City That Dared Not Eat. Many of the covers feature the Spider on the cover, obviously, but he's usually wearing a domino mask. But that's not how he appears in the stories. In the stories, he's wearing this very gruesome face-like mask of this guy with fangs and really ugly-looking, monstrous-looking character. The titles, you can tell by the titles who the writer is because of their kind of bombastic theme. Usually it features his Norvell Page's stories feature like cities getting destroyed and hundreds of people getting murdered all at once, and the Spider stepping in to deal with the scope of these really violent crimes. So I'll show you the picture of the Berkeley paperback medallion edition. This is the Spider Strikes, as by R.T.M. Scott. This is actually the first novel and the first story in the whole series. And it shows you the first publication, copyright 1933 by Popular Publications. And then this edition was in November 1969. The model on the cover is a guy named Steve Holland, who was the model for many, many popular paperbacks and popular magazine covers. And I'll show you some more. And again, this is Steve Holland there. And this is from Pocket Books. This is their number one, Death Reign of the Vampire King. And this is the second printing from 1974. This is number two in their series, Hordes of the Red Butcher. Again, Steve Holland on the cover. And I don't have number three, but this is number four in the series. This is Death and the Spider. I'll show you also the Muse editions, which I collected. And they have very different styles of covers. Not as exciting as these covers. But this one is Death and the Spider, the same story, same novel. And this one is number three, The City Destroyer. And I'll show you also the Carolyn Graff series. And they did a series of 8 books featuring 2 stories each. I'll show you those. So this is the first book in the series. And that's not... Yeah, this is The Secret City of Crime and Spider and the Painmaster. That's not how he appeared in the stories. Like I said, he usually wears a gruesome kind of face mask. And I'll show you, this one is a Norman Saunders cover. And this also is a Norman Saunders cover. But this is how he looks in the stories. That's how he's described. So that's number 2. This is number 3. And this one has 2 stories. Death's Crimson Juggernaut and The Red Death Reign. Very bombastic kind of titles. This one has Dictator of the Damned and The Milltown Massacres. Like I said, the stories feature these really gruesome crimes involving gases and flames and blood-sucking creatures that destroy sometimes cities, sometimes hundreds of people all at once. And the spider swoops in to save the day. Now, and here's number 4 in the series. And this one has The Death Reign of the Vampire King and The Pain Emperor. And of course, this story is not in the story that's mentioned on the cover is not in. It's just a facsimile, literally a facsimile of the original cover from the pulps. And this is number 5 in the series. And this one has Judgment of the Dam and Master of the Flaming Horde. So that's number 5. And this is number 6. And this is a rough copy that I managed to buy for 25 cents in a local library. This one has Slaves of the Laughing Death and Satan's Murder Machines. So that's that one. That's number 6. And number 7 in the series is this one. This is the gray, better look at the back, King of the Red Killers and Green Globes of Death. And the cover shows the Grey Horde creeps. And this one has, again, 2 stories. The Devil's Paymaster and Legions of the Accursed Light. So there you go. The spider also appeared in 2 movie serials from the 1930s from Universal Pictures. And the main character, the main actor, was Warren Hull. Warren Hull played in a few serials. He played in The Green Hornet, the second serial, and he played in the Mandrake the Magician movie serial. But the one of the most famous movie serials of all time was the first one. It was called The Spider's Web, and it featured Warren Hull, all in a completely garbed in a spider-like uniform, looking completely masked, and wearing this billowing cape. And it was a well done movie serial. It's kind of hard to find this day and age. So that's the spider. And so I hope you enjoyed this short little foray into the 1930s, the spider. And if you did, please give me a like, thumbs up, and thanks everyone for subscribing. And if you have any comments, thoughts, please feel free to share. I love to hear from you. Okay, thanks. Bye.